Ready?
Oh snap. Our what's up, Tea Talks
Hello,
fam?
hello. I am checking all my messages and all the love from you guys jumping on. Hello, Tea Talk family.
Hello, my name is Candy, and we've got
I'm
Leslie.
Leslie, and we are so excited to have you on for another epic episode of Tuesday Tea Talks. It is December, so for those of you that have never
Since wait, December?
it's December, right?
Since when?
It's December.
Just kidding. I knew that.
Well, I was like, wait, is it actually November? Is it actually January? Like, I could actually be off. It is December. Candy's pulling my leg. We're feeling extra silly this morning. And that means that we have a theme. We have a theme for the month and even a topic, tea topic for the week. And so this month we're diving into all things to lighten your load.
What are you sipping on? Drop it in the comments below. Oh, you're drinking Wish You Were Here? I almost drank that this morning, but I chose the matcha.
Wish you were here. And you guys are here. So let us know what you're sipping on. This month, we're talking all about lightening your load. So as you comment below what you're sipping on, we are going to be reviewing a little bit, pun intended. First week of December, we talked about putting our entire year in review. Last week, we talked about reflecting, and this week, we're going to keep moving forward and work on and look at releasing. But before we do that, Candy, who we got jumping on?
I see Monique down in the comments below. Hello, Monique. Welcome to Tuesday Tea Talks. We got Jessica joining us. Good morning, she says. Love it so much. You guys, drop comments below. Let us know where in the world you're watching from and what you got in that cup. Jessica says, I'm making a smoothie with greens, chia seeds, and vegan protein. Hey, that's amazing. I just said the other day, because I saw that Red Table Talk episode when they did all, if you guys are fans of Red Table Talk and the Smith family, I was watching it and they did a health intervention and they realized that like a lot of them were missing out on some omega-3s. Anyway, chia seeds are great for omega-3s. Monique says, at the moment I'm walking my dog down the street, phone in hand. It is windy and I cannot wait to get back inside. It's cold in Phoenix, man, and get some tea. Amazing. Before we dive into the tea topic, Leslie and I were just chatting about something. It was kind of off topic, but it kind of wasn't. And I just want to like take a step away from like the seriousness of the show for a second. Can we tell this story about when you were in Bali hosting a workshop? So for those of you that don't know this part of Leslie and I's friendship, Leslie and I were neighbors in Bali for some time in Bali, Indonesia, and literally neighbors. Like her room was like right next door to my room, and she was hosting a workshop. We were just talking about making noise on the video and how distracting it is, and her little Bali baby, his name is Randy, was just running around everywhere, and then he like jumps in, or like he's like going in her room, and I'm like, man, wasn't Leslie hosting I saw her on the laptop and I was like, wasn't Leslie hosting a workshop today? I wonder what time it's at, because he's just running around making a ruckus, and come to find out later on, I was asking Leslie, hey, what time was your workshop? And she was like, is that this time? And I was like, what? I saw Randy jumping around in your room. And she was like, yeah. Yeah, that happened. And I was just so impressed with her ability to continue the workshop, despite a little, how old is he, 2, 3, little child running around.
Yeah.
And so speaking of releasing, like, how are you able to, and this is just real raw moments, you guys, like, how are you able to get through that? Like, just keep going with a toddler running around?
To be honest, I think it comes down to a couple things, but I think one is I am theatrically trained, so I spent a majority of my life in theater and drama. So all you athletes, and you guys get to go in your heyday and talk about all your athlete, moments. I was up on stage, and so I do believe there's a certain training within me that, like, literally we're trained for those moments when shit happens, and the show must go on. Like, that's literally our mantra: the show must go on. Despite if there's a baby, despite if the backdrop falls over, despite if you throw up on a show, like, it doesn't matter. I've done it all, and the show goes on. So I do think that's part of it. And then two, I just think there's a level of, I think that's really what it comes down to. And just the level of delivery and the outcome that I'm committed to. Like, I'm committed to delivering this, whatever it is, value, this message, this is being channeled. And so it doesn't matter what else is happening. Like, when I see my eye on the prize of what I want to deliver, it's going to happen, regardless of what external chaos might be happening.
I love that. Okay. So that dives us right in, you guys. To speaking of eye on the prize, like, how could you be committed to something if you don't know what that is? Like, so if things are happening or whatever, you won't be able to fulfill on a vision if you don't have that vision yourself. So that's something we're going to be talking about. Leslie and I said next week we're going to be talking about how to really decide what it is you want to create in 2020. But first, we're talking about what? Releasing.
And this conversation is sponsored by Gotchi. I wanted to add that in the beginning of the conversation, as well as we'll circle back for what they are gifting our entire Tea Tribe at the end of the conversation. So this conversation is totally supported by Gotchi. They're amazing. The giveaway last week was so much fun. That's actually going to be mailed out today to our lucky winner, Nicole. Thank you, everyone. Thank you. Seriously, thank you, everyone who commented, who shared, who tagged, who participated. Mimsy, the owner of Gotchi, is just like over the moon, so happy and in love with our entire Tea Tribe. So y'all killed it. Y'all did amazing. And we're going to continue to sip on Gotchi all month long and share about their message and what they're up to in the world. So we are now ready to officially dive into the topic of releasing. This is something I know isn't really new. It isn't really a new concept to most of you watching. If it is, actually, I would love to know this. Who is watching right now who's never released anything before? And if you have no idea what I mean, you're going to be commenting. If you don't know what I mean, you will be commenting. Or maybe you have, but you still just don't really, maybe you didn't even understand what you were doing when you did it. And that's okay too. So let us know kind of where you're at as far as releasing. I know for me, I've been in many ceremonies, different all over the world, in fact, that have involved. I was like combining involve and release involved releasing quite a bit. And they've all looked so differently. And Candy and I want to bring our unique perspective out of everything that we've learned, all the releasing and letting go and moving past that we've done. And we want to bring a unique perspective. But before we do that, if you have your year in review, and or your reflection questions, this is the time to have those out. I know some of you are walking the dog, some of you might be on a bus to campus, whatever it may be. Actually, Jessica, you're done with school. You ain't going to school. No one going to school right now. Wherever you're at, if you have your reflections, if you have your questions, and if you have your year-in review, this is the time to grab it. And as we move through this conversation, even when you take this on in your own lives this coming week, make sure that you keep those close, because you just collect the data. For those of you that have been joining us week after week, you've done your year-in review. You've really reflected on what you want to see less of in 2020, what you want to see more of, what were your greatest lessons, what were your greatest challenges. This is like high dollar, priceless valuable insight and clarity you've just gained yourself. Okay. Yeah. So now we're in a space of what's next. There's literally not enough room to carry all of that with us into 2020, hence lightening your load. Insert lightning load here. And so we got to create some space, because I know that you are committed to calling in and bringing in and manifesting and attracting really, really epic things in 2020. Yes? I will be doing epic things in 2020. Let me know if that's you, because I know that will be me for sure. But there's not enough space to have it all come with. That I know for sure. And so with the data that you've collected, I mean, you've literally been a scientist of your life. You've collected so much data, fact, not thought, not story, not interpretation. You've literally collected fact of what your 2019 has been. And so now, Candy, take it over. What are they going to be moving into? And I would love for you, this would be a great time to share, like, how do you see releasing, and why do we want to present this differently in a new way that they might not heard before?
Love that. Love it. And releasing, first of all, why do we even do it? Like Leslie just said, there's not enough space to like, people say like have your cake and eat it too kind of thing, but this is like play big and play small. Like you can't do the same thing at one time. You can't live fully embodied and be in specific patterns. You can't play, at a level of impact and not believe in yourself. And, those things, like a lot of this has to go. And I see the comments coming through. Monique says, I will absolutely be doing big things, setting myself up for success. Love that. Love it. And yeah, so many of you are going to be doing so many amazing things. And some of the ways of being that have worked for you up until now are no longer going to work for you. And you're going to, the new things, the big things that Leslie's talking about are going to require a different way of being. And so I love that Leslie tossed this over. Like, why do we want to present this a different way? And because a lot of times I've been in ceremonies before. And in fact, my first ever releasing ceremony, though it served me, one of the things I wrote down, and this is what we did, we had a yoga flow, and we were to write down like one word that we just don't want to come with us into the next phase of our life. And I wrote down doubt, and I just thinking like, I'm done with doubting myself. I'm done. It's holding me back, so I wrote down doubt, and then I put it in the fire and I burned it. And it was like, done, released. I released doubt. And then like, come to find out.
Figuring out how we could have a fire on the show. Just had to add that in.
Oh, we can definitely have a fire. I got my little ashtray. We can do this like, but
I have all my fire in the background over here, guys. Candles, say, the incense. But I had to interject that. I was low key like, how can we have a cauldron? How can we have a fire? How can we like?
So funny. But yeah, it was very powerful for me to do that ceremony. But what I realized in that is that the joke was kind of on me, because I'm like free from doubt. I'm like, yes, no longer doubting myself. And then it comes back and it's like, oh gosh, dang it, I thought I burnt this, what the heck, I thought I released this. But the one thing Leslie and I want to share about this differently is that we got to be more specific around what it is that we want to release in a way that really, first of all, doesn't like have us be some sort of superhuman when we're done. And then also we gotta go about it in a different way. Because when I let me just tell you guys, when I burnt that piece of paper that said doubts on it, I was a little like furious, like, grr, you're done, like, and I was in a way where I hate doubt. I hate this part of myself that doubts my greatness, that doubts. And the same thing with fear, and the same thing of unworthiness. Like, I used to hate those parts of me like so much that I would just like burn it all and get rid of it all. But the truth, and what I discovered more recently in my journey, is that those ways of being actually served me, and for a good thing, it actually got me to the space that I was in. And so when I look back, I'm like, oh, thank God I was doubtful of myself, because if not, I would have been in positions where I wasn't ready to be in. Some of those things actually physically kept me safe. So I got to thank those things. So this is why Leslie and I want to present it differently, to where number one, we're getting real specific. And number two, we are acknowledging what those ways of being did for us and why they can no longer come along for the road.
Getting
So do you want to talk about this?
Good. Yes. No, I have to get the
Specificity.
notebook out for myself. And so if I'm getting the notebook out, I hope you all are too. Grab your notebook, grab some type of note-taking device, whatever that may be, because this is really good, you guys. And I am going to do a little brief recap of what Candy shared, because there were so many golden nuggets within the big piece that she shared. Number one being specific. Beautiful real life example. We were talking about this the other day too, Candy. Like, for us to say, I release fear, like, yes, that sounds amazing. I think we all would be like, that'd be kind of nice.
Yeah.
And to really, truly, like, if I were to write down fear on a piece of paper and throw it in a fire, and truly fear is gone. Let's just say, like, magic truly happens. I believe in magic. I believe in miracles. And the fear is completely gone forever. That would actually be more dangerous for my health than if it was there to begin with. I need fear. I need all of the faculties that come along with fear that notify me in my body when things are unsafe. What I don't need is the paralyzing inaction that comes from the fear. And so this is what Candy really means when she's saying be specific. Now, her saying, I release the fact that I'm doubting myself, that seems pretty specific. But also remembering that these sensations, these messengers, these intelligent messengers within the body of fear, doubt, all of those sensations, we actually kind of want them. What we don't want is the inaction or the actions that come from that space, which is what we really ultimately are committed to burning. So being really specific on what you want to release in a way that it still keeps you human, because you're still human at the end of the day. We want these. I know for me, when I'm walking alone at night, I want my body to be turned on. I want my body to be a little bit on alert, because my eyes to dilate, that keeps me aware. That keeps me empowered and safe. Versus if I was just like, I have no fear ever, 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 ever. Right? So it's really important to be specific on what piece of fear, like dissect it a little bit. Now you have all this evidence. Now you have all this insight from 2019. So what was it? And Candy could look at her year when it came to doubt, and what was it about doubt that she actually wanted to release? Not doubt. What did she actually want to release around doubt? Maybe it was an action or an inaction that she was taking around doubt, or because of doubt. So being very, 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 very specific. And then secondly, Candy, what did you share?
So I just wrote in the comments down below, getting clear on what are the undesired outcomes and results from those specific qualities that you're no longer wanting. And that's how you become specific, is what Leslie's talking about when she said it wasn't doubt itself that I was fearing, or fear itself that I was not wanting to have. It was the undesired outcome or result that came from that emotional trigger. And so that's how you get specific. And then the second one was to acknowledge that way of being and what it's done for you and how it's served you. And I think that's the one thing that's missing from a lot of these releasing practices, is we don't want anything to do with them. And I know myself, I didn't want anything to do with self-doubt. I wanted it to be burnt and out the window. I'm done with that. It's keeping me from my greatness. Yes. And I was done with it. But a lot of what's missing from these releasing practices is why was I so doubtful of myself before, and what was it doing for me? What was I getting out of that? and how did it serve me? So number 2 is acknowledge the thing that you're releasing, acknowledge how that served you up until now.
Perfect. And I wanted to add, that's so great, ladies, and let us know how you're doing. I know I can just feel everyone taking notes and jotting all of this down. So we have 1, 2, and 3. And so really looking, and this is where you already have so much insight. Like for those of you that have been following along week after week, you're starting to see this come full circle, and you've already done so much of the back work. You're already seeing trends because you have all the data in front of you. You're looking at, wow, I can totally see how me playing small, like it actually did serve me to a certain point, and I'm grateful. But that is what's going to be released, and that isn't what's coming along with me, because we need to create space. As Candy said, I can't be playing big and be playing small at the same time. And if I really am, then really what I'm doing is playing kind of in the middle. If I'm even going to give you that, that's what's happening. And that's still not playing big, which is what you were ultimately committed to. So either way, however you look at it, at the end of the day, you can't be doing both at the same time, because even if you are, then you're only playing so-so. And so what we got to do is we have to create space. And so writing down what you're wanting to release, for those of you that are real time participating, and also for our replay, I want to talk about the element of fire here just for a moment, because Candy, I do agree with you. I think that it can get almost this like negative, I think fire in general, coming from the fire herself, I think fire in general gets a very negative, like harsh, burnt, like aura to it. And in fact, fire is one of the, if not the most purifying. Even talking to the fires that happen so frequently in California, as devastating as it is, if you were to actually look at what happens geographically and like on a nature standpoint, taking out the homes that have been lost, taking out that, but just looking at it from what's happening as far as all the elements involved, there's a fire that destroys everything. It's completely black, it's ash. And then the rains come and then there's landslides, even more devastation, it seems like, right? But it's literally now the water element completely washing away all of the ash. And and you guys, this happens within a couple weeks and months. It's insane how quickly this happens. And then within a few weeks of people losing their homes, Mother Nature's already back. I mean, literally already being reborn. And there is no way that this newness could start growing, the new greenery, the new trees, if there wasn't some devastation, some complete releasing. And that's why I think, of course, fire gets such a bad name, is because it literally does destroy and completely get rid of everything in its path, which is actually what we want here. We want to completely get rid of whatever is going to hold us back from going forward, but it's not in a way of burn it all, it's something so wrong with us, it's so negative, but really using the element of fire for its power, like honoring how powerful and purifying fire is, and knowing with all certainty that fire's got your back, and completely releasing. And so for those of you that want to take this on, Candy and I didn't even talk about this, so I'm just throwing this out there. Go ahead and write down what you're releasing on a piece of paper. And throughout this week, creating a time for yourself, or maybe you have something upcoming where you do play around with fire. Of course, be careful. This is the disclaimer. Don't be careful. Do put all the safety. I am a burn nurse, so put all the safety precautions in place. But this is your invitation to just get a little bit curious with the fire element and how you could incorporate this level of purification into this release this year, where it's not about burning away pieces of you that are bad, that it's really about honoring and purifying old pieces of yourself to upgrade and to up level you to the life that you're living into 2020.
Yeah, and if you guys want to comment below. Like, I'll even be bold enough to share that. Like Leslie said, write it down on a piece of paper. I would love to hear, like, what are some things after doing your review that you realize, that doesn't need to come along, that this way of being. So comment that below. And if you need help, Leslie and I can help you get real specific on the actual undesired outcomes. And one thing I love about experiencing undesired outcomes and results is its contrast. And what contrast does for us is show us then what we do want. And that's one of the things we're going to be diving into next week. So comment below. I am releasing blank, and the blank is the undesired outcome. So we'll give you guys a minute. Comment down below. I'm releasing the paralyzing inaction of fear of judgment. I am releasing
I'm
the
happy to share a real life example now. This isn't for me. This isn't even for 2020 and 2019. This is just a daily, because I'm always working, always releasing, calling in, releasing, calling in. And for me, something, this will maybe give some people a little bit of a distinction. So experiencing some anger. And I could easily say, I want to release the anger. I want to release the anger. I want to release the anger. And yes, I do want to release the anger, but really, I know now at the level that I'm in and the level I play in that this anger has something to show me. So I don't necessarily want to release it, but what I do want to do is I want to release my behavior that might be harmful to others. I want to release my behavior that might show up as anger. I want my behaviors to be peaceful, even if I'm experiencing anger. So do you see the difference, ladies? I wouldn't write down that I'm releasing anger, because I really do believe right now it has something to show me. I just don't know exactly what yet, but I do want to release my negative and angry ways of being when it comes to my loved ones and the people that I'm around. Big difference.
And the separation that it creates, and those are the things. So I love the ones coming through, and this is reminding me of like one of my favorite oracle cards in the deck. We talked a lot about this past year, Leslie and I. And in fact, we actually created a workshop out of it at the Bali retreat that we did this last year. So super excited to share that with you guys. So Sierra Rose says, I am releasing feelings of unworthiness. And so love that. And like, this is one of the things that we talked about. How can you be more specific? Because when those feelings of unworthiness come back around, it's one of those things like doubt, what is it about the feelings of unworthiness that you'd like to release, that you'd like to do differently, that you'd like to let go of? And then drop that in the comments below, and I want to hear about that. Jessica, I'm releasing fear of rejection and the undesired anxiety associated with it. So love that you got more specific. Like, when I fear rejection, I experience anxiousness. And so I don't like experiencing anxiousness. And so what happens in your life when you experience anxiety? You said anxiety. I like to say anxiousness, because anxiety can be the sort of like label, right? And so what happens in your life when you're moving around anxious? Do you experience physical symptoms? Do you experience separation from other people? So I want to see if you guys can get a little more specific below.
Also add in, Jessica, also in those moments of the anxious feelings, does your mind kick on and immediately you start maybe self-sabotaging or saying kind of mean things to yourself? That is maybe what released, because the anxious sensation absolutely refine ourselves, where we feel that less and less and less and less to almost never. Once again, it's being human. Like, some of these sensations are only reminders for us. So what happens, beautiful question that Candy presented, what happens to you in those moments when the anxiousness seems like it's taking over? Do you start saying really mean things to yourself? What happens? Because I would just guess that's what could be released.
Yeah, the negative self-talk, the self-sabotage, those sort of things. And she says, yes, I do all of those things. And Sierra says, I'm releasing feelings of unworthiness around abundance and leadership roles that create fear and doubt in my capabilities. And so even then, I love that. Even then, it's like the fear and doubt in your capabilities. So you want to feel capable. Like that's what's, and you want to be fully embodied in your leadership. And so what you're experiencing, Sierra, it's like, I'm experiencing not fully embodying my leadership, or like what Leslie and I said earlier, paralyzing inaction. And or which you're taking tons of action, so I won't say that, but I will say, you know, what is it around the unworthiness? Maybe like the inability to receive the abundance. Like I'm releasing my inability to receive the abundance due to my like feelings of unworthiness. She says, yes, like there it is, right? Yeah, perfect. So see right there, like that's what Leslie and I are talking about when we say we need to get more specific, because you're gonna, like, I experience people look at Leslie and I all the time and they're like, oh my God, you guys are amazing. How do you do what you do? Or like they see us on a mountain in Thailand or something and they're like, I want that. And Leslie, like, I want that one. And Leslie and I, you know, and like we are committed to you guys, full transparency, we still experience feelings of unworthiness. They show up a lot differently, and yes, a lot less now, but we still experience those things. So it's not about releasing. Yes, we want to release those feelings of unworthiness, but more so we want to experience what happens when we experience the feelings of unworthiness. Does that make sense?
And I think, and you guys, I'm sure some of your brains, because I know even mine sometimes, there's like this like little pattern interrupt, because we've just done releasing so differently for so long.
Yep.
This is, we really are bringing, I don't even want to say a new concept, but just a more effective way to releasing.
Yep.
Because as we could already say, there was already a handful of you that were like, I want to release unworthiness. I want to release, you know, and we're able to just throw it up. Honestly, we're able to just get it out quickly. We can write it down. Mm-hmm. But then when we but to really go deeper and look at like, wait a minute, okay, I'm going to be experiencing unworthiness, but what is it that I really want to release, like truly release? Because what happens, we've talked about it a little bit. We say we want to release fear. Tuesday morning happens. We're fearful. Something happens. We're right back in it. And then guess what? Now we think we're a horrible manifester. Now we think we're a horrible spiritual person. Now we think something's wrong with us because that freaking fire ceremony didn't work and I'm back in fear. It worked for her. Why didn't it work for me?
Yeah, or we end up making ourselves wrong. I love that. That's what Leslie and I have had moments of this. Like where we both have had to hold space for each other in this moment where I'm like, why is this happening? Like, why I thought I released fear. I thought I released this feelings of unworthiness. Why am I feeling this? And we make ourselves wrong for it. I love it. Yeah, that's so powerful. I love that she brought that up, because it's then we end up making ourselves wrong and then maybe saying, wow, this isn't working or whatever else. Yeah, love that. Monique, I love it. She says, I am releasing obsessive thought patterns that I get emotionally attached to. Okay, love that. At times I get caught up in thought patterns, whether that be really reliving old conversations or creating fantasy conversations. So that Brene Brown would call that rehearsing chaos, like creating fantasy conversations of things I wish I would have said or not said. Then the next thing I know, I'm so overwhelmed with grief, anxiety, sadness of all of which I created in my head for no other reason than I got caught up in an obsessive thought pattern. So I love that. I love that you got specific to the obsessive thought pattern. And Brene Brown would call that rehearsing chaos, like when you rehearse chaos in your head, or that reliving. The Don Miguel Ruiz talks about that in the 4 Agreements. Like we judge ourselves over and over and over again for the same, or for doing something wrong, right? So maybe, you know, around that, Leslie, do you want to speak to that? I hear like making yourself wrong, you know, is coming up for you, and wanting to do things differently, but in the past.
Yeah, and I think all of you ladies listening can hear this, or I hope you can, and I'm going to point it out so that you can hear it. as you're listening to others' shares, you're probably already, because I know I am, like, wow, they could totally take this action to empower them, to bring them more to that embodiment. They could do this action. Now, I know we're talking about releasing and not action, but this really goes hand in hand, you guys, always. There's always going to be an action to take. We're not going to just sit around and talk about all this woo-woo feel-good stuff. Never in my presence will we only just talk. We will always take action and live in to the possibilities that we're creating. So she is saying, you know, automatic, always going on. I'm rehearsing it. So what I'm hearing is there just needs to be a commitment to pattern interrupt. Get up, physically stand up when that's happening and take yourself outside. If it's dark or it's too cold or windy, physically pick yourself up and go do a flow, turn on music and dance, call your coach, something, literally stop the pattern, because otherwise you will stay in it forever. So I wanted to interject that because you can already see that is going to give me insight on maybe what I need to formulate my release around. So you're definitely going to be committed anytime this arises, because it's going to arise. I can say I release that these negative thoughts happen. I can even release that I'm going to dance in them. That's getting closer. So really I release my commitment to this chaos.
Yeah.
Boom. And to be a bonus, because Monique, I know you're extra, and I know especially you're extra when it comes to your growth and becoming the best version of yourself. You are going to also commit to the action of when that happens, because it's going to. I am going to physically pick myself up, not say a word, not add to the drama, but I am going to physically pick myself up and pattern the interrupt. I am going to completely get into my body so much that my mind doesn't know what hit it, and it's already on to the next thing. You do that enough times, and I promise you will start seeing a different result automatically. Promise. Guaranteed it, if you do this repetitively enough.
Love it. I love that you're loving that, Monique. She says, yes, yes, yes. I love that so much. And one thing I want to point out that Leslie said, and we'll kind of make a transition here, is the commitment to the chaos. So again, we're going back to, and we talked about this last week, what am I getting out of this? You know, what is the result? What is the result of being in that obsessive thought pattern? And what Leslie said, like, I release my commitment to the chaos. Like, that is powerful, because when you think about it, and a lot of times, like, I'm sure for me that a light bulb went off when I experienced that. I was like, oh shoot, I really am committed to the chaos, you know? And it was almost like this like light bulb revelation for me. So yeah, love that. Yeah, we got one more coming through. Jessica says, I'm releasing the feelings and so this is her revised version. I'm releasing the feelings and behaviors I engage in. Yes, when I feel rejected, even if it's evident that I'm not. Boom. I am also releasing the feeling that I'm not good enough to be in the lives of my friends. See, there you go. Because there's a not good enough, but then to be in the lives of my friends. They're like, you know, so it's like, okay, that connection piece or that disconnection, or as if I'm less than, and the self-sabotaging behaviors that keep me in that mindset. Love it. Beautiful. Love it. Monique says, my light bulb just turned on. Okay, perfect. I want to get this oracle card. Leslie, like, you could chime in here, these comments that just came through, but can I share this oracle card with you guys? Can I share it? It's like one of my favorite. Drop a comment below if you want me to share it. I want to see it. Yes, please share it. Drop it below. What do you want to share, Leslie?
Well, I just wanted
I'm
to
gonna go get that.
Jessica, I really, by the way, notice how she's getting the cards before y'all comment. So Jessica, I wanted to share it totally. I love that. I am releasing the actions that I take when I experience, because you guys, and I love that we're making this distinction. We're making this huge distinction between the anxiousness that I experience, the fear I experience, the doubt I experience. Y'all, that is being human. That is being human. That is being human. I wish I had a video of me saying this, just that I could like post this anytime I got a question about this. This is being human. And in fact, we want these faculties, these sensations. We call these sensations, we make it so significant: fear, doubt. Oh my gosh, doubt. Really, it's just a little messenger in our body notifying us what we need to know. And it's only that we make it mean we suck. We're the ones that make it mean we're not good enough for the job. And so when we're get really specific on, okay, it's not that I need to release the fear, because in fact, I need the fear sometimes. I want the fear sometimes. To be able to get to a point where we're like, actually, I want the fear. That's when you know you're in a fun place. That's when it starts getting fun. But it's really about releasing the actions and the ways of being that you're choosing in those moments of doubt, in those moments of fear, in those moments of whatever it may be.
I love that. I love just bringing in the humanness, because and what we're making it mean, what we're telling ourselves, because feelings of unworthiness, oh man, this has been a teaching of mine and Leslie's for a really long time. Like I feel like we've been talking about this for a while, and feelings of unworthiness come from something, like something, these things that happen in our lives, these traumas, maybe these, maybe relationships with our parents, siblings, something happened growing up to where we decided that we were unworthy, and then we just kept rolling with it, or not to mention, so there's our own personal traumas, right, that we experience, own personal experiences, and then there's society, specifically the American society, the Western culture, that, like makeup's not going to sell makeup unless they tell you that you need it, and these things that, like, this is something that Leslie and I talk about a lot. Like it's, so we live in a society that says that we're not good enough. And then, to bring back, like, ancestral stuff, like our moms or grandmas, like, couldn't vote, like, then there's that women oppression too. So then we got to think of all those things combined that has us feeling these feelings of unworthiness, and understand where it came from so that we can choose differently. Like Leslie said, like, because then there comes a time when you're aware of it, like, oh, I'm aware that I'm experiencing these feelings of unworthiness that are causing me to act a specific way. So the awareness, you then you get to choose. Am I going to keep choosing that story? Am I going to keep choosing that behavior, or am I going to choose differently? And then, once you understand, like, you actually don't have to do anything to prove your worthiness. You wake up and you're worthy of love and belonging, and that's it, and so you get to a space where that's that, but then, stories come in, patterns come in, and you experience it, and then you get to choose. So I love that you brought in that humanness.
Which is exactly why pattern interrupt is so important. We'll transition to the card. Pattern interrupt is so important, because you literally, unworthiness, agreed it to be true, and then, as Candy said, kept running with it. And here we are, 20, 25, 30,
20,
and
50,
still running with it. Okay. And so it's really important that, like, it takes us doing this work and ultimately being responsible and interrupting the pattern at some point. Like, it takes you, and maybe you're the first person in your whole ancestral line ever. You probably are. Maybe you are, but you are the chosen person. And so it takes you literally, like I said, Monique, picking yourself up, if that's what it takes, and walking outside. I do that. I literally pattern interrupt all the time, not avoiding, but when I am in what I know is a hardwired pattern, and it's literally playing out without me even having to hardly breathe, then I know I literally just need to get up, move around, dance, shake out some of this energy, and start creating a new pattern.
This is that warrior work. Leslie, can I get my transition music?
Oh yeah, let's see. What do I got today? Boom.
That was the best. All right.
That was weird, but I liked it.
Love it. So this card, you guys, this is from the Work Your Light deck by Rebecca Campbell. Leslie and I both have this one. And this is the card that, has been present for me pretty much all year. I mean, I haven't pulled it in a while, but if you just look, I mean, it's beautiful. The artwork on this is amazing. But the word is unbound. And so speaking of being, is this backwards or is this like front?
No, it's perfect.
Okay, perfect. So what does it say? Releasing soul patterns, contracts, and past lives. So you guys, releasing soul patterns, contracts, and past lives. So just thinking about it, the card says unbound. So I want to look for this and read it to you guys. I love that we do this. We got to make this a thing. We've been doing this for a while, or not for a while. This is our second time, but it seems like everybody likes it. Do you love it? Do you guys love the
I'm commenting the deck so that they know.
Okay, cool. Yeah, let me know if you guys love it. And I want to read you this just in time for next week's episode on really fully stepping into the most embodied version of you. It says, it's time to release old soul stories that have been playing out in your life. They are coming up to be healed. There has never been a safer time to clear these patterns than right now. And how powerful, like literally when you think about safety, we just talked about it, like there's never been a time where it's been more safe to release these and let go of them than right now in 2019. Take a look at the patterns in your life that you are ready to release. Ancient vows and contracts that your soul made that have an expiry date. It could be a vow of silence or chastity or poverty. It is time to unwind from them. This is the life in which you free yourself from trauma of lives past. What old ways of being have an expiry date? When you name them, you can claim them and they stop holding power over you. When acknowledging these old patterns, it is also important to acknowledge they have served you up until now. For example, a soul pattern of playing small, caused by a soul fear of being seen or sharing your voice, would have served you by keeping you safe. In order to grow, you now need to soften by receiving and calling in support. It is time to unbind from the old ways of being that are no longer sustainable. Monique says, I'm in tears. Oh, I love it. So you guys hold your hand on your heart. This is an activation that comes with the card. If you want to just, take a moment here, take a deep breath and repeat these words in your head. I release all old soul stories, vows, and contracts and patterns that are no longer aligned with who I came here to be in the present time. I carry the lessons, growth, and gifts, but I no longer choose to live the same story. May I be unbound, forever unbound. And take it in, take a deep breath. And when you're ready, you can come back in, open your eyes. Let me know how that resonates with you guys. I know for me, it was very powerful. So good.
I believe that was so perfect for today's topic and for everyone on and watching the replay. Like truly, if you have not watched our year in review, which is the first video, we're all up on YouTube, or last week and this week, this is such an epic way. I think everyone that has taken on the activities can agree this is the most effective and epic way to put our 2019, really our decade, into review and enter 2020 unbound. And I am so excited to see what ends up coming from those of you that have created this time. Like Candy and I truly are so grateful to have you on week after week. And especially those of you that have boldly and courageously taken on the activities, and like you're already seeing the effects and we're seeing the effects, and it literally lights up my life. So, and I know it lights up Candy's life as well. So that was beautiful. Drop some love below for that card. If it spoke to you, I know it did. I know it spoke to me as well. It's always a much needed reminder.
Always a much needed reminder. All right, you guys. Well, thanks so much for tuning in today.
I was gonna pull up a different song for
our
outro.
Okay, go ahead. I was about to just click the outro. Leslie's over here throwing surprises at me. I love it. All right, you guys, let's drop this outro song, and thank you so much for tuning into Tea Talks today. Oh, we got to tell them about the Gotchi Tea coupon.
Yes. So thank you for that reminder. Gotchi Tea, we are being sponsored all month. The giveaway was won by Nicole. So if Nicole happens to be watching the replay, congratulations. She won a tea.
Brittany Nicole.
Oh, I'm sorry, Brittany Nicole. I keep saying Nicole, Brittany Nicole, Brittany Nicole. Instagram names always mess me up. Brittany Nicole, at Brittany Nicole. Won matcha, she won tea, she won a notebook, basically a whole gift set for her BFF or for herself. If it was me, I'd keep it for myself maybe, because it's that epic. I might give it to Candy. Maybe I'd split it with you.
You would have, okay, let's be real. Like,
cup, there's the notebook, there's the incense, crystals, there's so much goodness in there. So we're so excited for Brittany. That will be mailed out today. I cannot wait for you to receive that package. But for those of you that didn't win, our entire Tea Talk tribe, say that until December 31st. So go ahead and go to Gotchi Tea at checkout. You get 15% off your entire purchase, which is really a nice discount and gift that Mimsy, the owner of Gotchi Tea, gave all of us. So share that with your friends, share that with yourself, but go ahead and use that by December 31st.
Is it code Tea Talks?
Tea Talks.
All right. Caps. Oh, all caps. Whoops. Hold on, guys. Use code Tea Talks. Okay. There we go.
Tea Talks at checkout, and you'll get the 15% off.
Cue the outro music.
Okay.
It's boundless love within me. 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 It's boundless love.
Bye, Tea Talks fam. We'll see you next week.
It's boundless love.